said, oh, jeez, the loaf of bread with a wheelbarrow full of money, Republic? He said, mm-hmm. It is what a lot of people believe is coming. Try to buy a book online about the Weimar Republic. You will have a hard time finding some of the books. A lot of them are just suddenly gone. Who's reading them all, and why now? Peter Schiff, president of Europac and author of the little book of Bull Moves and Bear Markets. Peter, worst nightmare. It looks like it's coming true because, you know, as much as anybody wants to say that we're borrowing this money, we are borrowing some of this money, but people are also asking for insurance, if you will, on our treasuries, which has never, ever happened before. We need credit default swaps on our treasuries now to make sure that, because some people are saying, I don't know if they're good for the money. We're printing a lot of this money, aren't we?
Well, I think that's where it's going to come from. Remember, credit comes from savings, and we blew through most of our savings when the dot-com bubble crashed, and then we started borrowing a lot of money from the rest of the world. Wall Street helped us do this with these structured products where we tapped into the global savings glut. We borrowed from China and Saudi Arabia and Russia and Japan, but now we can't pay the money back, and nobody wants to lend us anymore, so they're trying to recreate it with a printing press, and that's exactly what happened in Weimar Republic, Germany. That's what's happening in Zimbabwe right now.
When you have inflation, let's just say that unemployment next summer is maybe 10%. And you have inflation at what? What do you project next year, just by the amount of money that we put into the market?
Well, I think it's already running a little bit north of 10%. I think pretty soon, maybe a year or two down the line, it's going to be going at least 20 or 30% per year. The government won't admit it, but it will be.
Right. But they won't admit it, but we'll feel it. When inflation is 20%, you have unemployment at, at least 10%. What happens then? People can't pay their bills, they can't pay their mortgages, they can't pay their credit cards. I mean, the whole thing starts to fall.
Glenn, they already can't pay their bills.
I know.
And the government, see, instead of encouraging us to start saving now so we can pay back the debt, they're trying to encourage us to borrow even more money and spend that. You know, what's going to happen, of course, is as inflation starts running out of control and prices start going through the roof, the government again is going to focus on the symptoms and not the disease, and they're going to impose price controls on energy, on food, on a lot of other things that are vital, which means shortages, which means long lines, black markets, civil unrest. All this stuff is coming if we don't stop.
Okay, Peter, let me be just a conspiracy guy here for just a second, because what drives me crazy is all these people are so very smart. They know. I mean, I get a call from somebody who is in the know, and he says everybody's reading about this, everybody is aware. And this is a guy at the highest level of global banking. I mean, are we being pushed into a global one financial system? What is happening?
I don't know what's going to happen as far as a global currency, but if you remember the Weimar Republic, they were in trouble because of the reparations from the Treaty of Versailles.
No, actually,
they had huge external liabilities.
If I may take you back one step, they got into a war and decided they didn't want to finance it with taxes or finance it with bonds. They just decided to run a deficit. That was the first step.
Right, that sounds very familiar.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing with Iraq. But the thing is, we owe the world probably as much, if not more, than Germany owed, only we didn't incur this debt fighting a war. We incurred it remodeling our houses and buying cars and television sets and iPods and all these little gadgets that we didn't need, and now we owe the world trillions, and we're reaching for the printing press to pay it back.
And we're also reaching for a stimulus package, which we have to go to the printing press to get that, too. And all these tax rebates and everything else.
All of it is coming from a printing press. There's no more money.
Okay.
You know, we can't borrow it anymore from the rest of the world because how can we pay it? We can't pay back the money we've already borrowed.
I talked to somebody at church yesterday, and he said, I was reading something about Peter, and I want you to stick around for a second after the break. I want to talk to you about something else that has been on my mind, and apparently, at least according to one of my friends at church, it's on your mind as well. Did the administration hard sell Congress on the bailout by dangling the threat of martial law? What's that all about? And martial law? Peter just said it. We're going to talk about it next. The issue of racism also is